All right. I'm super excited to be here. I actually used to live in Chicago at Lakeshore and Belmont, so it's great to be back. When I was first told that I would get the honor to be here, I was like, this is great. And then I was told who else would be on the panel and talks. I'm like, oh my. I'm going to be after Legends and before Titans. So I'm not really sure what I can add. And really what I can add is just my own unique stories. So for the next 17 minutes and 12 slides, we're going to talk about hustles and myths. So I'm going to share 6 hustles and 6 myths. And the first hustle is probably the most important one. Yes, that is me, before the beard. And when I was young, I loved sports. And I always bought a lot of trading cards, basketball, football, hockey, and I would try to sell them and buy them. Now, I was 10 years old, and I would go and I would try to find cards that were cheaper than they should be. See, at that time, before the internet, there was Beckett and Tough Stuff, and you could only find out the value of your cards once a month. And I would go to these shows, and I would say, Mister, how much for the Larry Johnson that's supposed to be $10 according to Tough Stuff that you're now selling for $6? It's $6, kid. How many do you have? It's $6, kid. How many do you have? It's $6. How many do you have? I have 50. Okay, I'll take all 150 for all 50 for $150. $150? Yeah, I'll take all 50 for $150. So he pulls out the 50, and I pull out $150 out of my 10-year-old pocket. Now, if you understand the baseball card industry, see, they sell it at retail price, but they buy it for 50 to 60% of retail. And he was already selling it for 60% of retail. So I just bought it at 30%. So all I did was walk around the show selling 3 at a time at $6 or $7 a card, and they thought they were taking advantage of me. I'll give you $6, kid. No, I want 7. I'll give you $6. Okay. So by the end of the day, I had a decent amount of money. I've actually doubled or tripled my money often by the end of the day. And then I would go to the next show the next day on the weekend, and my mom would say, do you need money to get into the show, Mom? No, I got it. Then I went to college, and I took a sports law classes while I was at University of Pennsylvania. I had an option. Would I write a paper for my final, or would I take a test? And I'm not big for tests. So I told the sports law professor I would write a paper. Well, I'm going to write a paper about the changing dynamic of the sports agent in the NBA. Late 90s here. He said, it's got to be good. I'll figure it out. So I tried to get in touch with my college basketball players, because I was trying to be friends with them, and that wasn't interesting, and I was talking to other people. Next thing I know, I was just like, does anybody know Pat Croce, who happens to own the Sixers? Somebody did after a lot of hustle. And there I was in the locker room talking to Allen Iverson. He's just barely taller than me, and I'm not tall. It was quite fun. And then Scott mentioned 2006. It was actually 2005. See, the part that I didn't tell you is when I was a kid, my dad died of cancer. And like any good Eastern European, I was born in Belarus, I didn't talk about my emotions. See, nobody knew what happened to my father, whether they got divorced, he died, he went on vacation, or what. Until 10 years later, I decided as a New Year's resolution, I would actually face my challenge. So I started a charity just using, at that time, MySpace and PayPal. See, MySpace was bigger than Facebook. Twitter was nascent. YouTube was not owned by Google. And Obama was probably only a word in Chicago. This is 2005. And it was just really frustrating. But I raised a decent amount of money. And then I met my co-founders for the idea, which changed my life and a lot of other people's lives. See, Eric had talked about being on the board of a theater company, actually, here in Chicago. We used to be roommates on Belmont. And Danae was working with different filmmakers and entrepreneurs, and we all said, we all have a mutual frustration of trying to raise money using the internet. See, you remember my Music Against Myeloma story. This is 2006, and we said, why is it that the internet is democratizing everything? Democratizing video with YouTube, it's new. Democratizing auctions is doing really well. But access to capital was all about the right gatekeeper. Do you know the right VC, the right person in the government, the right banker, the right person, the right person, the right person, the right person? But the internet's supposed to change all of that, but it hasn't done anything yet for access to capital. So we had a really naive idea. Why not create a platform where anybody gets to raise money for any idea? If they want to fund it, they fund it. If they don't, they don't. So we launched in January 2008. We now distribute millions of dollars around the world every single week, 70 to 100 countries a week. Then the company is running, and we have a small amount of investment. Just a couple years ago, we were at South by Southwest, huge sponsorships to try to do events at South by. George Clinton, who's a famous musician, was actually running a campaign on Indiegogo. I'd been in touch with him just because I thought it was interesting to be in touch with an interesting musician. And I was saying, how's the campaign going? How's the campaign going? He's, oh, we're in the southern part of America. Are you anywhere near Texas? Oh, we're about a day's worth away. Do you want to do a pop-up show at South by Southwest? Sure, Slava. He just comes driving to Austin, Texas. I have no venue. I don't even have enough money to create a venue. It's actually at South by Southwest. Everything is booked. If you've actually tried to book a hotel or try to get a parking spot at South by, it's impossible 3 months in advance. So the hottest location at Austin South by was the CNN Grill. CNN actually promoting a location there. So I just started thinking, I go to the head producers at CNN, and I'm like, oh, by the way, I could get you the hottest act going in this whole entire show, and I could get it here to you tomorrow. Who? George Clinton. George Clinton? Yeah, George Clinton. Who are you? Indiegogo. What's it? George Clinton. What? Huh? Yeah. Next thing you know, I run into another person, DJ Spooky, an incredible DJ that has one of the top iPhone apps. I'm like, DJ Spooky, do you want to do a riff with George Clinton at the CNN Grill? Sure. By the end of the South by of 2012, Google it right now. It's one of the hottest things that happened at South by Southwest, all for free. And here's my last one in terms of the hustles, which is really my hustles today, is my 9 to 9 philosophy. And I'm not sure this works for everybody, but for me, I don't use a computer, a tablet, a desktop, a laptop, or anything between 9 in the morning and 9 p.m. See, because I want to interact with people. I only use my mobile device. So I want to hang out with my employees, hang out with customers, meet people, talk to people like you, and then also meet the incredible kids at Harper High School this morning, which we'll talk about again. See, because I met them at 10:30 in the morning, and if I was on my computer doing my work, I wouldn't have been able to get in the car to meet with them and share you the story at the end in approximately 9 more minutes. So now let's move on to, so those are my 6 hustles. And all of you probably know your own hustles. You could think about it. Think about, maybe tonight at the bar where you're in the car driving home, what was your first hustle? What, helped create you into who you are today? There's no question that me buying and selling baseball cards was my first hustle and it helped create me. So much so that my college application, the essay to get into Wharton undergrad, was that story. In a few more words. So, myths. We learn about the right rules and the wrong rules of how to be an entrepreneur. Yet, we really just follow often what other people say. But when you're at home and your mother tells you the soup is too hot, the tea is too hot, for some reason you don't listen to her. You always have to check yourself, and you're like, oh yeah, that was hot. It's really cold outside, the weather's changed. You don't listen, they were right, it changed. But you need to know for yourself. So here are 6 myths that I've debunked myself, which is, I've been told these things, and I actually tried to believe them, but I have a lot of chutzpah, which is a Chicago word, and I just had to figure it out for myself. And these are 6 myths that aren't actually true. Which is, number 1, you need a lot of money to be an entrepreneur. We bootstrapped Indiegogo for 3 years, not because I wanted to, but because everybody thought we were crazy and no one would give us money. We're talking about just thousands of dollars for 3 years without other jobs. The average small business will start on $6,000. Facebook started on $21,000. So if you say you don't have enough money to be an entrepreneur, you're making excuses. Or you need a really great business plan and lots of research. I don't know how many of you are science fiction fans, but there's a guy named Isaac Asimov. He's really famous. But I think really good business plans should be right next to Isaac Asimov in the library. Like, you should go into literature and writing. Don't become an entrepreneur. See, the barriers to entry are so low these days that if you walk up to a VC with, I have an idea, they say no because you started the sentence with, I have an idea. It's all about proving what you can do now because you can build it so fast. You can show traction immediately. You don't need to discuss your research and findings. Your findings are the executed results. Number 3, values and culture don't matter till later. This one would be hard for me to believe if I was in the audience with you because I definitely didn't think it mattered. But I learned very quickly that it does matter, and I'm really proud of the fact that right from the beginning when we were arguing, the 3 founders about who should we hire, what should we do, what's our vision, what's this, we separated our opinions, and those didn't matter. What matters, what are the common values that we are working on? And those were faith, fearlessness, authenticity, collaboration, and empowerment. That's what helped guide us, and the picture you see is our employees. The next one is all about the idea. In my opinion, there's not much new in the world. For what it's worth, crowdfunding actually happened during the Statue of Liberty. I won't share the story right now, but the actual base was funded through crowdfunding, through the newspaper, through Joseph Pulitzer. What matters is execution, hustle, perseverance, seeing failure in the eye and moving forward. So don't worry about do you have a good enough idea or that idea is obvious, they were lucky. It's just a whole lot of work. Have any of you seen Inception, the movie? Well, I'll give you the short version of what it's like to be an entrepreneur and the idea. See, there's reality and the dream world, and then the meta dream world. But see, that was the movie. In our world, there's the real world and there's your dream. And the only way you know the difference is when that top falls. See, in our world, if you're too close with your dream to reality, it's a common business idea and everybody gets it. And they think you're normal because you just started a coffee shop. And if they think you're crazy, it's because you haven't done a good enough job of taking your reality, because in your mind, your dream is reality, because that's what we entrepreneurs are. We see our future reality. You just have to work within the constraints of the true reality. So your craziness is just a function of how much you can meander between the two. The next one is to go after the biggest market. You probably have heard, oh, that's not a good idea, it's a small market. This is a bold one. Most of VC will disagree with me. But this is total garbage. Because 0% of China is a lot less than 1% of Luxembourg. But the funny thing is, if you actually do a really good job of just getting 10 customers, chances are those 10 will tell somebody else. And if you're really good at doing this tiny little specific thing, you might be able to find some tangential businesses to move into, or as a ways to move this over. But if you keep on failing at trying to, catch the whale, it gets you 0. So my suggestion is don't go after the biggest market. Don't say the other person's idea was the best idea. Just be super, super, super passionate about whatever it is you want to do, because chances are you'll do it really well. And chances are you'll have hurdles. And when hurdles hit you in the face, as the Mike Tyson quote, oh, Mike, you were able to knock him out in 91 seconds. How did that happen? I know that for months they were saying that he had a really good plan. Everybody's got a plan until I punch him in the face. Right? Which is, it doesn't matter if it was China or Luxembourg. What matters is that when you got punched in the face, you keep moving forward. This is my last myth, and then I have one more slide. But your mother will never understand, so I'm going to spend a minute here. I went to an Ivy League school. I was born in Belarus. Immigrant parents, high expectations. Gotta, do better than the generation before. I actually was working right here at the John Hancock building as a strategy consultant. I was making good money, 6 digits in my 20s, even mid-20s. I quit all that and I left. I said, Mom, I'm starting my own company with 2 friends. She's like, that's great. Do they have good insurance? Mom, no. Eric, Dana, and I are starting our own thing. So we're starting our own company. So Ichka is the diminutive way of saying I love you. So Slavichka, what is the health insurance they're providing? Mom, we're doing it ourselves. I don't understand. So 2008, market crashes. Everybody rejects us as investors. Everybody. I've been turned down by practically everybody out there. Silicon Valley, Chicago, New York, international, Israel, it doesn't matter. They all turned me down. 2009, market crashed completely. Slavichka, I don't know if this is a good idea. I think you should go back to consulting. No, Mom, this is so much more fun. I love not able to eat anything. I'm losing weight. I might have to come back to live with you soon. She's like, oh. So now we're up to 2010. Do you have good health insurance yet? So now 2012 comes by. It's the summer of 2012. My mom has no idea what I do. She calls me and she says, did you see what happened on the internet? No, Mom. Well, there's this woman in upstate New York, an elderly woman who's been getting bullied. And on the internet, they're raising lots of money. It's remarkable. Oh, yeah, Mom, that is pretty cool. How did you hear about it? Well, my mom's a doctor. Everybody at the hospital is talking about it. The nurses, the doctors. That's great, Mom. How did she do it? Slavichka, she did it on the internet. Oh, that's great. Do you know how on the internet? No, I don't know. Mom, she used Indiegogo. They wanted to raise $5,000, and they ended up raising $750,000 in 4 weeks. No, Slavichka. They raised money on the internet. Yeah, Mom, Indiegogo is on the internet. That's what I do. Oh. So that took 6 years. So here's my final slide is this, there's some young men right here from Harper High School. Over here on my right, your left. And we also have Tim Jackson. Tim, are you raising your hand? Tim, yes. So Tim is the true leader. He is the teacher at Harper High School, pushing forward the BAM program, so becoming a man. And Chicago Ideas Week gave me the opportunity to work with a local high school just to get to know them. So I spoke with them on Skype for 30 minutes. And they inspired me, I inspired them. Before you know it, they're like, I'm going to use Indiegogo. We're going to raise money for our sports programs. Great. So what I said to them is if they can raise 400 of their 800 goal, that I would help them raise the next 400. So the amazing thing is, as of this morning, so this is already a delayed slide, they had raised the 400 of the 800 with these 10 kids and 40 others. So what I challenge you right now is to pull out your phones. Yes, you could pull out your phones. This is interactive. The first time ever at Chicago Ideas Week. And you could go through Google, right, so you don't have to know how to spell Indiegogo, but just type in Harper Boxing for BAM, just like that, with Indiegogo, Indiegogo. The first result you'll get is actually this campaign. And I know they want to hit 800, and I promised them by the end of tonight they would hit it. Whether you help me or not, I guarantee they'll hit it. But I want your help to either fund now, tonight, later, share with your friends, and this might be one of the coolest stories of Chicago Ideas Week. Thank you.